What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Now, you guys know every day I try to bring you guys some content about meme coins or microcaps, whatever it may be, because I do think sprinkling a little bit of that within your portfolio can lead to some ridiculous gains like it has for us throughout this whole year. And so we're going to continue that momentum today, and we're going to be talking about one that is applicable to you no matter what community you're in. You know, one thing that we see a lot in the world of crypto that I've kind of talked down on a little bit is the fact that we are to somewhat like isolated or like there's kind of like factions within crypto, right? You have the Ethereum faction, the Solana faction, the Binance faction, the AVAX faction, the whatever it may be faction, right? You know, just different people who kind of isolate themselves to one chain, and that's the community that they're a part of. And I've said on a pretty consistent basis that I think, considering that the grand vision of things is for crypto to be mass adopted and to reach the upper echelons of just the world in general, we're gonna have to unite to some degree. And I think whatever it takes to bring that unity is important. And I think using that unity to get to the next step would expedite the process of the mass adoption in general. And so with that in mind, today we're going to be talking about a company that actually does that to some degree, that kind of unites a bunch of these different little factions and brings them into one, that I thought was pretty interesting. And so today we are going to be talking about a company named Dogeverse, and they are, of course, a sponsor of the channel today. Now, we're going to be talking about kind of who they are and what they do, and we're really going to be highlighting the fact that they are still in their pre-sale phase, which you guys know is something that I like to invest in, especially these days. You know, I've said on a consistent basis that pre-sales and pre-investments or pre-launches, right? These are the things that have made me some of the biggest gains within crypto. Obviously, they are the most risky. I mean, you have to understand that the more ability to make gains typically comes with the higher risk you have to take. That's just life in general. But it is something that I like to do a lot, especially at least a couple of times a week here whenever we do our microcap or meme coin section. So again, today we're going to be talking about Dogeverse, talking about who they are and what they do. So let's kind of get into it. So what you can see here is that this is Dogeverse. They say the world's first chain traveling Doge. Now, this character is built around someone named Cosmo. They said spawned by collapsing supernova, Cosmo the Doge was born with the unique ability to hyper jump between the stars of the crypto universe. His time-tested voyages across ETH and Solana transformed the Doge meme into a symbol of unity and creativity, giving rise to the Dogeverse. Now, Cosmo has discovered a way to share his chain traveling ability so that Dogeverse holders can freely traverse the best crypto chains. What a good boy. Now, they say that Dogeverse is the first Doge meme token built on a multi-chain network spanning Ethereum, BNB Chain, Polygon, Solana, AVAX, and Base. They go on to say, of course, welcome to an interconnected universe of Doge lovers where community rewards and creative fun coverage. Of course, stake your Dogeverse tokens on Ethereum to earn passive rewards and increase your bags throughout the meme season. And as you can see here, again, they're already, you know, they see this is already live on Ethereum, Binance, Matic, AVAX, Solana, and Base, all of your biggest ones. Now, of course, you guys know as a Solana stan, right, a Solana fanboy, many people would call me, this is very exciting. And I love to see this because now it's taking something that, you know, we would have maybe only seen on Ethereum, and now it's bringing it and capitalizing on something like Solana or capitalizing on something like Base, which I think is a fantastic idea. Why is that? Well, the reason I think that's a good idea is because oftentimes we see liquidity cycle through chains, and that's just kind of normal, right? Think back to 2021. We saw a huge moment, especially back in like March, April, May, right? In which we saw Binance cryptos just absolutely going ridiculous. Think about the SafeMoon days, right? Think about when that we saw that little season, the BNB based cryptos were the ones that were doing the best. They were seeing the most liquidity. They were getting purchased the most. They were getting the most volume, getting the most money, everything, overall traction way higher than the rest. Then we see it kind of trickle down into some of your Ethereum memes. And then this year we saw Solana memes absolutely pop off. Avalanche memes actually doing pretty decently. And then even base cryptos, right? Those ones doing good. And then maybe BRC or whatever it may be. But what you can see here is that we have these moments in time in which these certain specific chains are the ones that are kind of getting highlighted and kind of getting focused by the DGen community. And what Dogeverse is doing is they're taking an approach in which, in my opinion, they can capitalize on any of those narratives. And that's interesting. It's just not something you see very often as a company, especially a meme coin, being able to capitalize on the hype of any chain, any of the major chains, especially when they do see Solana go live, and especially when they see Base go live. You know, imagine if base-based cryptos are the ones that do the best next. Boom, they're there. Then it trickles back to AVAX. Boom, they're there. Then it trickles back to Ethereum. Boom, they're there. And it puts them in a spot in which they can capitalize on it. And that's the reason why their community has done so damn well and has grown so much recently, because they're capitalizing and they're pulling people from each different community into one community and uniting them to some degree into the sense that they can then grow their community out against multiple narratives and multiple niches. And that's beautiful, right? You look at something like this and you see the amount of engagement, the amount of people who are excited about this, the fact that they just surpassed the $5 million mark is absolutely nuts, especially considering that recently, especially the last 2, 3 weeks, things have slowed down a good bit. They have kind of died off a little bit, especially within the world of meme coins. And the fact that they're still being able to maintain that type of momentum and that type of engagement, it says something in itself. Now, from a token perspective, kind of looking at the tokenomics and stuff, they do have a pretty healthy overall allocation. Nothing really stood out to me as being a problem. It all looked pretty damn good, right? Pre-sale allocation at 15%, staking at 10%, project funds at 25%, liquidity 10, marketing 25, ecosystem 10, exchanges 5. Now, of course, you do need to be careful whenever they have a ton of control over, say, 50% of the supply, but the company itself and the team does seem to be in a position in which they are focusing on getting things right, like centralized exchanges, as we can see from the roadmap. Let's go back up here, right? You have the centralized exchange listings, you have your applications, your partnerships, your DEX tools listings, all of these different things, right? And so that does require tokens, that does require funds, it does require having some access to this capital to be able to make those things happen. So it's really not anything to be too concerned about. And I definitely think as they do continue into, phase 3, phase 5, phase 4, right? These different phases are going to be when this thing really does start to try to gain some momentum, especially, of course, post-launch. Once we do start to see, of course, CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, then you see DEX tools and Bird's Eye, then boom, now you got centralized exchanges and things like that, right? And so in my opinion, kind of knowing that they still have all of those things coming and knowing that they're going to have so much capital to work with, like I just mentioned, with $5 million coming in, it puts them in a position in which they truly can see a ton of potential or a ton of growth, in my opinion. But as I mentioned before, you just have to understand that these pre-launches and the ones that haven't even gone to market yet, they're always the ones that will be the most risky, but can bring the most gains. So because of that, of course, whenever they reached out and they wanted to come and become a sponsor of the channel for the day, I was like, yeah, absolutely. I love what they're doing. I align with the idea. I align with the ideology in the sense of uniting this space. And I think that by doing something like this and pulling from different communities, they're doing something that's not really been done yet. And I think that's a part of the reason as to why I kind of related to them so well. So I wanted to bring them to you today, and I would love to hear your opinion down in the comments below. So of course, let me know down there what you're thinking. Let me know your thoughts, of course. And with that in mind, I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.